Hey guys, what's up? This is Don and welcome to another Cinema 4D tutorial on motion squared. And today I am going to be showing you how to create this low poly world covered in this dome shape thing. The original idea for this was sent to me via the newsletter email, and up until now I had not really looked into this whole low poly style. It's actually quite popular and it's quite an interesting look, and I had a lot of fun playing around with it, and in the end this is what I came up with. So hopefully in this tutorial I will show you some of the things you should keep in mind trying to pull off this type of look, and then hopefully with that you should be able to move on and use your creativity and imagination to make something a lot better. So in this tutorial we'll be taking a look at how to create the geometry. So starting with the ocean, followed by the land, this mountain at the back, the clouds, and then the dome. And then in a different tutorial I will take a look at how to do the lighting. So let's jump into cinema and let's start building the geometry, starting with the ocean. So for this I will get a circle and I will just make sure that it's on a flat plane, and I will drop this into an extrude NURBS. So if I click on the circle, hold ALT and get extrude NURBS, I want to zero out the Z movement, which is set to 20 by default, and I want to go to caps, and all the way down here where it says type, I want to change this from n-guns to triangles, and then tick regular grid. Okay, there's way too many segments here, so I'm gonna increase the width to 40, and I think this will work better for this tutorial. And then I will hit C to make this into an editable object. Go to MoGraph effector and I'll get the random effector, and then I'm going to drop this under the extrude NURBS, which I should rename to ocean just so it's more organized. I'm going to go to the random effector, and at the moment you can see it's not doing anything. This is because the deformation mode is set to off. Change this to point mode, and now the random effector is affecting the individual points. I'm going to go to the parameter tab and I will lower the position to 5, 5, and 5 because the default 50, 50, 50 is just way too much. If I go back to Growth shading, you can see the edges a little bit more random, but the surface still looks quite smooth, and this is because of the font tag. We need to remove this, and when I do that, now you can see the way the light is bouncing off each of the polygons, and this is how you get that low poly look. Okay, we can create a basic material. Just give it a blue color, something like a light blue, and then just drop this onto our geometry, and this is going to be the color of the ocean. Next up we are going to make this land section, and I am going to begin with the landscape object, and I'm just going to set the width to 400, which will bring it right to the edge of the ocean, and then also the Z depth to 400. There's too many segments, so I'm gonna lower that to 20 and 20, and maybe lower the height to 25. Then I'm gonna move this up and then move it toward the back, and maybe play around with the plateau level just so we can raise that up a little bit, not too much, maybe around 60%, and we can just adjust the position until we have something that looks okay. maybe make it wider even. And I think this should be a good balance of the land compared to the ocean area. Now obviously this is overlapping over the edges, and I want it to be trimmed so that it fits this round shape. So what I'm gonna do is get a cylinder, give it a radius of 200, which is the same radius as the circle we used for the ocean geometry, and then I will get both of these and drop them into a bool tool like this. And if I just solo the bool tool, by the way, this is a plugin called Magic Solo. You should get it. It's very useful. I think I want A intersect B, and if that doesn't work right away, you just need to flip the order of your two objects. So now this is going to be cut around and trimmed around the edges, and will fit perfectly with the existing ocean. I'm going to hit C to make this whole thing editable, and the cylinder is still here, but it's not actually doing anything. I'm going to remove this and then just delete the bool tool null. I'm going to go to polygon mode, Control A to select all the polygons, right click, and let's triangulate. That was slightly off screen, but if you right click and go all the way down to the bottom, there is a triangulate command. So now we have this piece of geometry, and it's made up of these triangles, just like the geometry we used for the ocean. I'm gonna go to my original geometry and just copy this random effector and drop it underneath the landscape, and maybe just lower these numbers to maybe 3, 3, and 3, and remove the font tag so we can see the sharp edges like this. And we can create another basic material. Let's make this one green, maybe like a dark green color or something a bit more washed out. And let's drop this onto the landscape, and that looks great. If we go back to the preview image, we can see these little areas which are orange, and those are supposed to be like the beach next to the edge of the ocean. So for this, we don't need any new geometry. We just need a new texture, a new material, and let's make it like an orangish or like a washed out orange color, something like this. And I need to go to the landscape geometry and then just select some of these polygons which are next to the ocean. Just select them randomly around the scene, and drop the texture onto here, and this is what we have. Next up, we're going to create these mountains which are at the back, and we do this by getting another landscape object, and let's rename it right away. Let's call it mountain. And again, there's way too many segments. Let's go for 10 by 10. I'm gonna go back to modeling mode, and I'm just gonna bring this in, make it a lot smaller, and just bring it above everything and push it toward the back here. Can make it taller, like this. Make it narrower even, maybe even taller than this. And I just want to make sure that it's sitting and sort of intersecting with the landscape. And in the settings here, there is a seed control which allows you to randomize how this looks. So, you know, I actually kind of liked the first one, but what if I duplicated this, moved it to the side a little bit, move it back a touch, make it shorter, and then this is kind of like a secondary part of the mountain, and that can play around with the seed just so it looks completely different from the first one. And then I can select both of these, hit C to make them editable, remove the font tags so we can see the sharp edges. And this look pretty good already, but just to keep everything, just to keep some continuity, I want to triangulate these segments as well, and I think that just looks better. Okay, so those are the mountains. As you can see, very easy to do, and I can create a new material. I'm gonna edit it over here, and let's make it like a brown color, a bit more orange in this, like a light washed out brown color, and drop it onto the two mountains. And that's that. Next up is the two clouds in the sky, and the way I did this was first of all grab a sphere and lower the radius to maybe 25. I'm gonna solo this, and the number of segments maybe just 10. Drop this into a cloner object, set the mode to radio, just bring it in, go to MoGraph effector. Let's grab another random effector just to randomize the position a little bit, and we can play around with the settings. And I think maybe something like this looks okay. I can maybe lower the number of clones, and then I'll drag this whole thing into a metal ball object. I need to lower the number of subdivisions to maybe 15, and this basically joins all those spheres up, and this is kind of like how I made the geometry for the cloud. Okay, I'm going to unsolo this. Okay, this is way too big, so we need to make it editable. But before we do that, I need to match the editor subdivision with the render subdivision to 15, so that when I hit C to make this editable, the number of segments will remain the same. I can then just make it smaller, bring it up here, and position it somewhere above the mountain, maybe like here or so. I can press T to bring up the scale and just bring this down. I think that's a good position. I'm gonna duplicate this and move this out here just in front of the other cloud, make it smaller, and maybe rotate it just to make it look a little bit different. Maybe move this out here. So those are the clouds. Again, I'm just going to triangulate everything and remove the font tags so we can see all of the sharp edges. Okay, and we're just going to create a new basic material. Let's make it white and drop this onto our two clouds. So that's that. The final thing we need to create some geometry for is this dome, which covers the whole thing. And for this, I'm going to get a sphere. And you know, you'd think you would just get a sphere and you know, make it a hemisphere, make it large, and that would be it. But as you can see, these segments are not triangles, and also they get smaller at the top. So even if we wanted to triangulate them, there would be different sizes at the top compared to the bottom. So I'm gonna use the isosahedron sphere, and we'll leave the segments at 24. And I need to trim off this entire section at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is to get a cube, and let me solo these two polygons, and I'm going to increase the length and width of the cube, and then set the Y position to -100 so that it cuts the sphere on the XZ plane right here. And then if I get both of these into a boo tool and maybe just flip, you can see now this is completely cut off. And then I can make this into an editable object and remove the cube section. And if I unsolo, I now have my my dome. So I'll call this dome, and then this two as a cloud, and another cloud there too. And for this I will need a new material, and if I go to the basic tab, I want to enable transparency, and just drop this onto the dome, which is all the way down here for some reason. And that's it. That is how you create the geometry for this little low poly world. And that concludes this tutorial. In the second part, we will take a look at the lighting and rendering. Thanks for watching.